Hey everyone. こんばんは. It's 9 p.m. Wow. It almost seems like I planned to start at this time, but I did no such thing at all. I randomly started exactly at 9. It's January 29th, 1月29日. 令和8年です. It's the 8th year, already 8 years into the Reiwa era in Japan. It seems like just yesterday. Michael Jackson died in 2009. That's insane. It's already 15, 16 years ago. How is that possible? You know? So if you have questions about Japanese, this is my, what is it called? I forgot what it was called. What was I calling this? Office hours. So if you have a question, let me know. If you want to talk about anything else, that's fine too. I'm a very extroverted human being, so I'll take other questions as well. Konnichiwa, MC Benjamin. I had a friend that I was having problems with, and I want to pontificate on this just for a moment, but I was very irritated with a friend of mine for many, many years. And if they're watching, they'll know who they are. And it seemed like everything they did really started to just really rub me the wrong way. And I started really thinking negatively about that person. And of course, now everything they do becomes jaded in my mind. Kind of like after people get divorced and the wife becomes the devil incarnate and the husband becomes the worst human on earth, even though they loved each other for 10 years or however long. It's that kind of a thing. So I started seeing everything negatively, but in my heart, I know how important a good friend is. And we had a great friendship for many years back. So I couldn't just let him go as a friend, even though I wanted to. Like I just was like, ugh. And I mean, I wasn't happy with it. And I met with him, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago, and I just let it out. I was like, this is what's bothering me about you. I gave him so much stuff. And I think he was blindsided. He wasn't ready to hear all the things I didn't like about him. And then we tried to watch a movie after that, but I think he was like mentally drained. So he's like, I'm too tired. I'm just going to go home. And either it was like he was really mentally drained, or he was thinking so much that he couldn't stay there anymore, which was fine. So he left, and then I was still having these negative feelings. And then I said, you know what? I don't want to lose a friend, because it's, how hard it is to find friends that like me. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to watch me on a live stream, but to actually like me as a human being, it takes a little bit of effort, So I had him come over again to finish watching the movie, and I made this very conscious decision because we had another blow up online, I think the previous day or so, where it went something like this. I said, he said, hey, he says, like, do you want to do a Wednesday movie day again? And I'm like, I didn't respond. I think I responded like 2 days later or 4 days later even. I was like, you're coming over Wednesday, right? That was my response. After we had other little things, I said, you're coming over Wednesday, right? And he's like, well, I wasn't invited. And then I lost it, In that moment, I was like, bro, do you need me to beg you to come on over? I was just angry at it, And we had another blow up there. But then on the day of, which was Wednesday, I just decided he said a lot of things in his, on Discord that I think were pretty true, like accurate representations of how I had been all of a sudden different to him and things had changed. And I think he was right, So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna avoid talking about this anymore because we've already done so much discussion on it. I'm just going to go back to the way it was, and I'm not going to let anything bother me. And the day went fantastic. We watched a movie. We had to just, like, when we watch movies, we stop it, we talk, we debate, we keep watching. It takes like an extra hour for us to watch a movie, but that was kind of the fun part of our relationship, right? So at the end of the day, I told him in the very beginning, it's like, hey, today's Wednesday. I like to go to Goodwill on Wednesday because they're 40% off. So I'm going to have to kick you out early. He's like, that's cool. So I communicated to him early how I wanted the day to end. And when it was over, I took him back home and it was over. It was a great day. And I had this epiphany at the end of the day. I thought, you know what? I'm the problem, because he's always been this way, and I just started perceiving it a certain way, and I started reacting and then building this narrative in my head that I didn't like these things, when really I could still have great days with a friend and have fun, jovial discussion, as long as I didn't push my narrative or make all of this meta discussion with this guy, and even when he brought up things that I thought were dumb or something that I would push on a debate, I almost lost it. I almost went into the George Trombley chastises you. George Trombley tells you how things are in life because he knows better, because he's old man and he's been through some things, but what do I really know? I really don't know anything. So I stopped myself. I was like, I said it, I spit it out and I go, oh yeah, but that is what it is, and I pulled back and I restarted the movie, and I just made sure not to push into those topics, and it was a great day. So the epiphany is, I'm the problem. And I wonder if there's some guys like you out there that thought, hey, are you the problem? Are you the problem? I mean, really think about it, because it's really easy to blame other people. And it's not like it's the first time I've had this thought. There's a movie that I've talked about a couple times in the last 2 decades, at least on these live streams, I've talked about it. But I think it's called The Visitor or The Visitor or something like that. And I think it's this really low budget indie movie, maybe out of Australia. And there's a man and a woman, okay? And they're walking in the outback. And the woman is an alien, like she's from another planet. And I don't remember the setup, but they're walking and they're having discussion about Earth and his life and stuff like that. And at one point she says to him, we should be lovers. He's like, what? But okay, yeah, sure. And she says, but we have 2 rules, okay? He's like, okay, what are the rules? She said, first rule is we need to always be truthful with each other. And we can't lie to each other, okay? Say what we mean what we say. He's like, okay. And then she says, and the other rule is we can't get mad at each other. He's like, oh, okay, can't get mad at each other. And so as they're walking, or maybe even before that, he was talking about a story in his life where kids had made fun of him. They called him a bunch of random names, or, for some, when you're a kid and you do something, you mess up and that becomes your nickname. Like, you get spaghetti on your shirt one day and all of a sudden now you're meat sauce boy, that kind of a thing, right? So I think for him, it was like Bat Boy or something like that. They called him Bat Boy. And so after she says to be lover, a little bit of time, they're walking around and she calls him Bat Boy or something like that. She uses the nickname that bothered him when he was younger. And he says, I have a problem with our rules. And she says, well, what's your problem? He said, well, number one, I have to be honest. So I'm going to follow that rule and I'm going to say what I'm thinking right now. I'm really honest. But I have a problem with the second rule because I'm mad at you right now. What are you mad at me about? You're teasing me with the nickname from when I was younger, and it makes me mad. And she said this most profound thing, and I don't know if it was meant to be profound, but it's so profound. She says, oh, that's easy. Just don't be mad at me. I want you to think about that. Because anger, much like me and my friend on Wednesday, is a choice. Whether I let someone's actions affect me is me. It's me. And it in my time, I guess this must have been 15 years ago when I saw that. I remember I used to always get mad at my daughters. Very, very angry when they broke one rule that I had. And that was, don't wake me up when I'm sleeping on the couch. Like, don't be noisy. So if they ever were screaming, or, not screaming like in a bad way, but just like the way children scream, like, ah, kind of a thing, I would be like, nande okostanda omae? I'd be like, why'd you wake me up? I'd be angry, But after I watched that movie, I realized that's a choice. I don't need to be angry. So I'm telling you, this is exactly what I did. I called my daughters together. I said, hey, listen, you can wake me up anytime. If you ever need me, just wake me up. It's fine. And if you accidentally wake me up, I won't be mad. And I'm pretty sure I didn't ever get mad again as a choice. So this is kind of where I am right now, is I'm trying to choose to be the guy that doesn't debate everything, because I'm a huge debater. Like, you say something that hits me wrong and I will go so hard on you. You know what I mean? In a bad way. When really what needs to happen is I need to learn what the Japanese people did to me all these years growing up in Japan. Is, you know what the Japanese people do? They go, "Oh, so desu ka? Omoshiroi desu ne." And I only realized it much, much later in life that all these times, it's not that they agreed with me. It's not that they thought it was really interesting. It's just that was the best response to a man that just said something they completely think is crazy, right? So if someone says to you something that's really crazy, in your opinion, maybe you can just say, "Oh, interesting. That's how you think? Okay. And think about it. It makes everything better, because you have never in your life convinced anybody of anything. If you think about it, I mean, it's a rare moment where you convince somebody to change something that they're doing. It has to come from within, from people, right? You know, I'm sure people have told me all along I'm doing these things and I didn't change. It takes revelation from my own self to change. It takes revelation from your own self to change. So why do you think other people are less than you in terms of all you got to do is tell them the right logic and they're going to change? They're not going to. So the best response would be just be like, that's interesting. I never thought about it that way, which is true. If you say, I never thought, I agree with you and I'm going to change my mind, it just means interesting. I personally never thought of it that way, which is a completely true statement, right? That's kind of my message for today. Let's look at some of the comments here. Someone very happy to see me on a live stream. I need to do more of them, honestly. Marsh says, that's a tough situation, to be honest. I definitely have felt that before. Then you went to an izakaya. I don't drink manum. I don't drink. Did you know that? I don't. I drink water and teas. There was one time I think when I was like 36, and I was going to, I go to Japan every year, right? Ever since I left Japan, I go back. And this one particular year when I was 36, so like, let's say like 17-ish years ago, right? I said, you know what, I'm going to drink. From now on, I'm going to drink. I'm going to just drink because I don't drink, right? And I got sick of saying to Japanese people, because to Japanese people, they all drink, you know, all of my friends drink. Everyone drinks. It's just a common thing that people do. I hadn't really met any Japanese person that didn't drink. And Koreans, for sure, definitely drink, right? Once I started going to Korea. But in Japan, this is before my Korean passion for my love for Korea. It hadn't happened yet, so I was only going to Japan. And they would always say, oh, what do you want to drink? And I go, oh, I don't drink. And in Japanese, it's noma nai, right? Noma, with an a sound, right? Noma nai desu. And they would go, oh, they would feel like they heard it wrong. Like, no, nome nai desu ka? You can't drink? Like you have a problem, like medically, that prevents you from drinking? That's the only thing they could seem to think of. They couldn't think of like the fact that you choose to not drink. Okay. So I got sick of saying that. So it's like one time when I was 36, I drank. Everywhere I went, I drank. And let me tell you what, I don't think I like myself when I drink. Like one of my employees at the time said, on the train, I grabbed him like this on his shirt and I pulled him. And you understand, this guy, if you ever saw a movie with a mafia hitman, that's what this man looks like. This tall, slick back hair, black, dark man, not a black man, but everything about him was black. His hair is like Italian to the core. This is a Italian hitman, okay, in the mafia. And I'm like, you know. And another time with him, we were over at my friend Satsuki's place. I made a video with Satsuki a long time ago called My Day with Satsuki. And I legit love Satsuki, right? I'm in love with her, okay? And we were staying in her house. I've known her for like 15, 16 years. And he starts saying, you know, I really like Satsuki. Maybe I could marry a girl like Satsuki. And I'm like, no, you can't marry. I'm drunk, by the way. I am so drunk because Satsuki's mother had made plum wine. And and I was drinking this plum wine, and I don't drink. I'm a light drinker, right? Like I was hammered, okay? And so, but I remember not being able to stop myself from these feelings and saying these things. And he starts talking about marrying her, and I'm like, why would you do that? You know that I love her. I was like, yeah, but you're married. George's like, I know, but I love her. She's mine. And then he said, but here's the thing. Just if she's my wife, you'll still have access to meet with her. I know you like her. I know you're fond of her. You've known her for all these years. And it was all logical. But I remember I said to him with malice, I said, be careful what you wish for. And then now this part I don't remember, but he said, I said it. He said, he said that I said, I will stab you in your neck. And when I heard that, I thought, oh, I'm a violent drunk and I probably shouldn't drink, right? So now when I tell Japanese people that I don't drink, I don't say nomanai desu. I say shuran desu, which let me double check the exact accent of that. Make sure it's not shuran, but it means I'm a violent drunk. That's what that means. Let's look this up. Give me a second. Let me close all these things down. Close all. I got too much stuff open. Okay, let's open this up. gshow.org. And you can use this too if you want to drink. Because even if it's not true, it's funny to say. Yeah, it's this. It's shurang. Okay, so drunken vice. I'm a shurang. A person who is prone to violence when drunk. And even though I think it's probably true. I really think it's probably true. It's funny when I say it. So there was another time where I was funny in that same trip. We went to Roppongi and there was this like fake casino. They had like fake casino games and dancing and everything. And I was drinking and this place had like multi-levels and I went down to the bottom level and I was wearing, it was kind of chilly that day. So I had like a shirt over my inner t-shirt. And it said, Ore te kakkoi on the shirt on the inner side. It was like a shirt that I had made when I was doing the t-shirt business. And it's like, I'm cool. Ore te kakkoi. And I remember I went downstairs to where like there was like pool tables and stuff like that. And all of these like couples are like sitting on couches and like necking and stuff like that. Or like guys hitting on girls. And I was just like, oh my God, what can I do here? You know what I mean? And so I just shouted. I remember I was either buzzed or relatively drunk. I don't remember. And I just undid my shirt and I was like, minasan shitteru tomou kedo. Mo shitteru tomou kedo. Ore te kakkoi. I said, I think you all know, but I'm cool. That's what I did. And I thought that was pretty funny. And they laughed. They laughed pretty hard. And then after that, this is probably the dangerous part of the getting drunk, I think. I made some friends, some guy and some girlfriends. And then we started playing this, what is that called? Ping pong. Takyu, I think in Japanese. We were playing ping pong. And it was so fun. Oh my God, just like for like an hour, we were just going back and forth playing ping pong. And then then I learned that the girl I was playing with was 16 years old. How she was in a bar this late, I don't know. She didn't seem 16. I didn't do anything, of course, I'm married. But I had a lot of fun playing ping pong with a 16-year-old. And the guy must have been like 24, so I'm sure he's freaky. He probably liked her. Because it was his friend. Or her brother, maybe. I don't even know. So that's why I don't like to drink. I don't know. What am I going to do when I'm drunk, you know? Am I going to kill somebody? Am I going to stab them in the neck? Don't let me drink, guys. Okay. MC Benjamin says, George, my respect just doubled because I talked about being a violent drunk, obviously. No, I'm a little bit late. That was about 12 minutes ago that you said that. It takes a real man to admit when he himself is the problem. Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm the problem. It doesn't mean I'm going to solve it. It doesn't mean I'm going to get better, but I'm going to try. Marsh says, it's hard to decide what hills to die on because you want to be a person of principle and not stray from your what you value. That's the thing, though. Like, everything I was angry at was stupid stuff. It wasn't important at all. It was just me wanting to win or me choosing to be upset or not. Maybe I was actually upset or bothered, but like, why? If you sit back and analyze it, like, why am I upset about these things? I swear to God, one of them was the emoji that he used. Like, he overuses a certain emoji and I forbade him to use it. I said, please never use that emoji again. And that was just like piled on top of other smaller things. Hey, Violet. Manum says, I started doing it, putting myself in the other person's shoes, then realized I was the problem. Hey, man, I'm glad you also had some growth. Kyle says, true friendships. Oh my. I might actually be saying that right, but it didn't feel right. True friendships, there we go, are like spousal relationships. They take work and can have ups and downs. Communication and honesty are key. My rule of thumb is the alien's perspective. If someone who knew nothing about the people or situation suddenly appeared and observed, what would they think? I never want to be the asshole. That's the thing. I am always the asshole. I rarely think I'm not the asshole. I think it's because people that are alpha or super extroverted like me, we don't mesh, so we're not together. So I tend to be with people that are okay with a really extroverted person or someone that's a little bit too alpha. They're kind of okay with it. Like I don't know how to say it, but there are people that are okay with that. They want that strong person relationship. And so they let you walk on them. They let you walk on them. They take the abuse that I dish, and yeah. And they say things like, I know you don't really mean it. I just know that's the way you are. Whenever I hear that, I'm like, oh man, I don't want that to be why. Like, I do want to be called out on it. And my friend, to be honest, to be fair, called me out on it in Discord, and that definitely nudged me towards realizing I was the problem. So I appreciate him doing that. Although I haven't told him that, to be fair, because I didn't want to bring it up. I think one of the goals I had when we met was like, let's not do this meta discussion. Let's just talk about fun things, and let's not go back to the meta of our relationship. Because you don't need to look at a relationship really detailed, right? I think sometimes. Corey Griffin Models says, now I'm curious, are you a 3D printer guy or do you have models? Corey, I spelled that wrong. Oops, and I was in Japanese mode. Corey Griffin. Or are you a model? Are you going to be like super handsome guy? Wait, where did that go? Griffin. Hang on, I'm looking you up. Welcome to Corey Griffin's page, where acting meets art and modeling embodies elegance. Corey's diverse roles and captivating presence on screen. I have to click more here. Ooh, you do look like a clip art model. Hang on. Corey's diverse roles, and I'm not going to throw it up unless you give me permission. Corey's diverse roles and captivating presence on screen and in fashion showcase his dynamic range and commitment to storytelling. Explore the world of Corey, where each performance is a unique journey and every photograph tells a story. Actor and model. Okay, you're an actor and a model. It almost sounds okay. And then there's a book me. You can book Corey. Wow. What are some of your? Do you have some roles down here? About us. Corey Griffin, hailing from the vibrant city of Chicago, is driven by a profound love for storytelling. So wait, hear me out. Question. Is that you, when you say storytelling, you mean acting or do you write? That's my question. All right. Your question is, though, I apologize for derailing there. If you are indeed Corey Griffin, you might be another coincidental Corey Griffin. What do you think about Quartet after Japanese 05? I've heard people doing it, but I don't know about Quartet. You'd have to talk to, what's his name? Although this guy claims he never saw the books, which I doubt. He says he's never seen the books. Although I'm saying right now I've never seen the Quartet books. So maybe it's possible. What's his name? Shoot. What's his name? He's a white guy with his Japanese wife. He makes videos. I don't know if he's good, but he's got a good following, so I think he's probably good enough. He does videos on Quartet. Shoot, what's his name? I don't remember his name right now. He's just another white guy teaching Japanese. Kyle says, realized that when I was depressed for a long time, I could just choose to be happy instead. Sometimes it works, isn't it? Like sometimes when I'm running, I run every morning right now, right? So I've been running since the 9th. 20 day anniversary today. But I run, and right when I run, when I get tired, I go, you know what? I'm not tired. I got more energy in me, and then boom, all of a sudden I have a little bit more energy in me. It seems like the brain can choose certain things. Victor Hugo says, I wish I had money to become a full-time alcoholic. You know, you really don't. My understanding from what I've seen is they've said alcohol is a pure poison to the body. There's no redeeming values. That study that talked about wine being a little bit good or whatever was not. That was funded by the wine industry or something like that. So it's not exactly true. Apparently, alcohol literally only damages your body. Kyle says, you would love the Key and Peele sketch about misunderstanding texts. It's actually really funny, actually, that skit. Key and Peele are absolutely my favorite American comedian combination. Baka de futoi no de sake o nomitaku nai. Okay, let's see here. This applies to my best friend so much. He's extroverted and abrasive. I'm introverted and chill. But post 20, I became more social and dominant. So now we butt heads. Yeah. Two dominants don't work. And hear me out. My friend that I was butting heads with, is also, he's younger though. And he didn't have his footing yet, but he's getting there. He's grown and he's definitely an extrovert. And he's starting to not be able to take my crap. And I think that's why he's able to tell me how he feels, you know? And I'm not irritated with him because of that. I'm irritated for other reasons, but I still believe strongly that if I just reacted differently and if I didn't push so hard my narrative, it would be no problem. And I proved that Wednesday when we met, you know, no problem at all. Great day. I generally had fun with the guy. JAYD says, how many of y'all slowly start to feel more confident? Then you pick up a children's book in Japanese and feel like, well, I suck. I'm going to tell you something right now, JD. That doesn't change for 30 years. You'll always get these moments of feeling like you don't know enough. Today, my wife was saying something to me, and I said to her as we were driving, I said, am I just bad at Japanese? Like, how come every day you say something I don't know? How can there be, for 30 years, this many things I don't know? You know? But it just turns out my wife watches a lot of stuff, like a lot of variety of stuff, and reads a ton of books. So her vocabulary level is really high. I'm trying to remember what she was saying. What were we talking about? I wish I could remember. Because I know the word now. I would tell it to you if I could remember it. I'll try to write that down from now on. But I'm driving most of the time in these situations. Kyle says, it sounds right, like standing up to your dad. Oh, yeah, I get that. I feel bad for him too. Marcelo says, reminds me of the band Metallica. 2 alphas didn't work out. Did Metallica break up? I don't think I heard about Metallica breaking up. Chew Wafers, another alpha. I was just about to ask if your wife reads books because yeah, they'll do that. They'll do it. Yeah, that'll do it. You said, yeah, she reads a ton of books. Her vocabulary, and I have chastised her. I'm like, you think I know that word? Like, and the minute I learn what the word is, I'm like, there's this one, there's like 3 other words you could have used that I know, and you choose to say like fuchsia instead of pink, you know, or lavender instead of a light purple. You know what I mean? Like these colors I never hear, you know? All right. Curious on clicking this book me. Oh, it's just a mail to link. Oh man, okay. All right. I wanted to see prices to book Corey Griffin model. JD says, I'm definitely the introvert type. I keep quiet and I'm generally kind of timid. I'm also the type that once the switch turns, it's like 0 to 100 in 2 seconds. What do they call that? There's a saying for that in Japanese. It's hitomishiri suru. I think is what that is. Like, I don't know exactly how to directly translate that, but you warm up once you get to know someone. I played Pokemon, by the way, Kyle, speaking of Pokemon, for the first time in like maybe 2 years, I feel, today. I just threw some balls. So there was something on Reddit about Pokemon. I was like, I wonder what Pokemon's having now. It's changed a lot. There's like four gyms by, not just one gym now, really close to my house, and three other stops right by it. So it's kind of interesting. Violet says, I used to think I was introverted. Well, we know I was wrong about that. Yes, I feel like Violet's pretty extroverted. You're an extra introvert. I think you still have introvert tendencies, Violet. Violet's my best friend right now. We talk all the time. Marshals says, I feel like I'm trying to transition to listening to chunks of speech instead of listening word by word, because I'm pretty certain that's how we listen in English. My brain can't keep up otherwise. I think the hardest thing for me to do has always been listen until they're done talking. It's such a rare thing for me to be able to do. But every time I've attempted it, I realize my opinion shifts sentence by sentence. And normally how I talk with people is one sentence and I'm already biting into that sentence. And if they say something or let's say that I have no problem with what they're saying, the minute a word sounds wrong or triggers the right word, I jump on that word. And I'm trying to not do that. I don't think I'm really a good friend in the end. I really think it's hard to be a friend with me. Social introvert. Thank you, Kyle. That's the word. Marsh says, sorry, I'm talking about listening to Japanese. Oh, listening to Japanese. I should have been. That's okay. We were talking about more deeper, like life things. So yeah, in Japanese, there's a point in Japanese where you can hear things and not know every word and still understand it. Like that's half my life. Like you hear a complicated thing, I don't know every single word, but I know exactly what they're saying. You know what I mean? Like, but then there's times where the word was so important that you have to ask it, something, like, what do you mean by that? And then that becomes the conversation more than the thing they were talking about. And then once you understand what the word is, you move back into the conversation. JD says, yeah, like I need to hang out in my studio alone I get very frustrated. Your studio? I call this my studio too. You want proof that I call it my studio? Alexa, turn off studio lights. Okay, that one apparently. Oh, okay. Alexa, turn on studio lights. What else is new? It's only been a couple days. I'm not going to be playing Pokemon, honestly. It's a waste of my mental energies. I do like Pokemon, and I played it for a long time. They changed the leveling system at one point. I think I was like level 38 or something like that, or 39. Maybe I was 40 something. I don't remember. And then I went back in a while back, and I was like, my level had gone up significantly. They somehow like scaled it differently. I'm level 61 Pokemon now. And today I caught a whatever the baby one of this is, like a virtual 100. I don't know if you know what a virtual 100 is, but if the what is it? Hang on, let me see what it's called. I'll show them to you. If the attack and the defense are 100, and the whatever that next line is 98, then that gets counted as 100 when you're playing Geodude. So my Geodude If you look at this appraisal, this is actually 100, apparently. And so, in a rare moment, I told my wife to play Pokemon because she plays too. But yeah, I'm level 61 now, somehow. Yeah, the grinding of Pokemon is what does, like, even when I'm walking, like, I'd rather be thinking things instead of just blindly throwing a ball at these digital animals for digital points that I have spent easily over $2,000 on Pokemon. I'm not even joking. The $99 coin thing, I've done that so many times. I bet I could look it up. It's insane. Violet says, here I went and reinstalled Pokemon Go, and I've yet to play it on my walks at work. I don't know. It just seems like a waste of time. I don't know. For me, I kind of look negative on, I think, games overall. Unfortunately, it's for a lot of people. I do like playing games, but I think I enjoy watching movies more. JD says, there is a boxer named Pitbull Cruz, and he looks like the human version of Geodude. Is that true? Let me look this guy up. Pitbull Cruz. Big, I'm assuming big eyebrows. I guess his real name is Isaac Cruz. Let me see here. Versus a Geodude. I'm not seeing it. Let's see. Yeah, kind of, a little bit. I mean, there is a resemblance there, but not as grumpy looking, I would say, as Geodude. Games, movies, books are all the same to me. You can learn or waste time. Well, Kyle, I disagree with you there. For me, movies are better than games, like games that you're just playing to play versus like going through a story, because I'm a book writer. So I like to watch for story, for lines, for character types, for situations. And it just really stimulates my writing sense, right? Violet says, I either walk and contemplate or I'm chatting. Uninstalling TikTok has been good for me. Oh, me too. The minute they became America TikTok, I uninstalled it. I still do Red Note a little bit, but not as much, because I gotta like pay attention to the Chinese on Red Note more than I want to. Do I have a favorite Japanese variety show that you think is worth immersing with for fun sometimes? I know it's not the best media, but better than nothing, of course. I would say this. It doesn't matter what media you watch. There's always going to be things in that media that are like iffy for learning. Like that are like, why would I learn that level? Variety shows, I haven't watched something new in forever. And the one that I would recommend as being really fun for me was Gakitsukaya Hende. It's a Kansai dialect show. So it's all like Kansai dialect, but it's so funny. And the shows that I like are all old or not running anymore. I just don't watch new Japanese TV at all. For a while, I had access to, China had some bootleg device where you could get like literally every Japanese station. And I was watching tons of Japanese TV. Then I adore Japanese TV. But they got pulled down, so I don't know what to recommend. There's YouTubers that are fun. Like I always like to recommend Tamayura Gakuen. I've showed them a few times. I never understood some hobbies being considered smarter, like reading or chess. I think it comes down to like how much of your brain are you using? Are you like brain rotting while you're doing this hobby? You know, for me, I value creation even over learning. So I think the hierarchy of what I think is good, starting from the worst up, would be like games, absorbing media like movie, TVs, YouTube, stuff like that. But then creations on top. I guess I only had 3 things to talk about there. RPGs have insane stories. Yeah, rocket-propelled grenades definitely have some insane stories. Like the people they killed when they threw them. I don't know why you'd bring up rocket-propelled grenades, Violet. You don't have time for rocket-propelled grenades. Yeah, I hope not. Wow. Kyle says, but you can read dumb books and play chess without activating your brain. Perhaps. JD says, I don't know that smarter is necessarily the word, but there are definite hobbies that I think build skills or sharpen critical thinking. That's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah. Like I have I guess I put it over on my shelf. I bought Jurassic Park in Spanish and I want to read it. I haven't touched it. Reading is such a painful thing in my brain. Like it's so slow, right? So I haven't done it. There's another book I was reading that was insanely interesting and I put it down. I don't know where I put it and now I haven't read it in like 2 months. But it was insanely interesting. That's why I do audiobooks. But I think I would get something more out of the Spanish Jurassic Park so I could like see words that I'm not used to seeing and then looking at the English side of it and seeing what they were coming from, right? Marsh says, I finally got a work from home job like a few months ago for the first time. So I've been able to immerse and study a lot more without commute time. Feels like I can actually commit now fully. Yeah, I've been work at home for like 20 years. It's the greatest thing ever. You know, think about it. Like this is like the most insanely personalized office you could have. Oh, you know what I saw today? So this is a TV behind me, right? It's 98 inches. And before I had a 86 incher and then I upgraded it. Today though at RC Willey, which is like a furniture store here, they had a 115 inch TCL TV. This is a TCL too. And I was like, oh, I want that. But I think this is big enough. But it was also $10,000. I don't think I want to spend $10,000 on that. Gotta watch out with Spanish though. Spain Spanish has a very different vibe if you are learning LAM Spanish. What is LAM Spanish? Oh, Latin America? No. Latin America. What's the M? Yeah, I get it. I get that Spanish will be slightly different in Spain. Victor Hugo says, George, have you ever been to Gifu? Have I been to Gifu? I just found out Gifu has the biggest Brazilian population in Japan. I was just in a Brazilian Hafu girls live stream a couple of minutes ago. Ooh. Wow. I don't know. Have I been to Gifu? Let me see where Gifu is. Let's see here. Gifu. Oh, wait. Okay, I'm just looking at. Go back one. Hang on. Let's see. Maybe not. None of these look familiar. Let's see. I've been here, Nagoya, Shizuoka, Aichi. I've only traveled through Fukui. I've been to Ishikawa. Because of Kanazawa. I have a friend there. But I'm sure I've only passed through Gifu. Why is Gifu huge? Gifu's pretty huge. Let me zoom in and see if there's some cities that I know. No. Oh, not. You know, I feel like I should take a trip to Gifu. Monet's Pond. Tokuyama Lake. Gifu Castle. That's a cool spot for a castle. No, I've never been there. That's the answer. Looks nice though. Yeah, I zoomed out. Where did it go? Okay. Let's look at this Minnow Pond. Ooh, that's pretty. Wow. Wow. I get why they're calling it. There's that painting by Monet. That's pretty. That'd be cool to like go to Japan on the Adventures in Asia channel and just do like a certain prefecture. All the best spots in Gifu. That'd be cool. All the best spots in Aichi. And I could have 50 videos. That would be cool. You think I could pull it off? And then I could meet up with random people along the way. And they could go with me. Like, hey, today we're doing random Miyagi Prefecture. We're going to do all the best spots in Miyagi. And I'm here today with Jeff. Guy named Jeff. Apparently there were no cute Chinese girls that wanted to walk with me today. It's Jeff. I'll take a Brazilian half girl too. MC Benjamin says, what do you think of the trailer for the new Masters of the Universe movie? I haven't seen it, but I used to play with He-Man when I was a kid, so I enjoyed it for sure. Grayskull. Was it the power of Grayskull? I don't remember. Oh, Chris Broad does that? Oh, son of a bitch. Well, just because Chris does it doesn't mean I couldn't do it. We could call it the best parts of Gifu according to George. How about that? The best parts of Gifu according to George. Have I been to a 1-star hotel in Japan? No. I've seen people do that though. But last thing I want is bed bugs. So. Adventures in Asia Infinite. Yeah. Well, there's only like 48 of those Todofukens. So I don't think it wouldn't be infinite. Although in the amount of time it takes me to edit videos, it would definitely be infinite. Kyle says, my name's Jeff. You know, I saw that meme for the longest time on from PewDiePie. He'd be like, my name is Jeff. And then I watched, was it 21 Jump Street or 22 Jump Street? Which one was it? I don't remember. Oh my God, that line is so funny. George does Japan, Violet. George does Japan and a guy named Jeff. Because the Chinese girl wasn't available and the half Brazilian was busy live streaming. That'd be cool though. We could call it, you know, here's what Chris Broad hasn't done. Hear me out. A month in Gifu. A month in Gifu. Right? Here, what's another? Let me just look. A month in. I have friends in Shimane, so that would be it. Let's scroll down here. Let's look around here. A month in. I'm trying to find like a minor. What is it? What prefecture is this? A month in Kochi. Wait, that's a city. Hang on. Tokushima. A month in Tokushima. I ever slept in one of those lockers on the wall? They're called capsule hotels. Yes, I have done that. And I will never do it again. I'll never do it again. For 2 reasons, or 3. The first one is, and this is going to sound pompous, I'm way too rich to stay in a capsule hotel. Let me just say that. I don't want to. I got the money to spend somewhere else. And capsule hotels like 2,000 or 3,000 yen. I'll stay in a place for 6,000 yen because I'm rich, guys. I can pay double the capsule hotel. Okay. I didn't like, and also, other reason, I got way too many luggage and I always want to bust out my laptop and my gear and I like to do live streams when I'm there in Japan. So no, never. I do Airbnbs. Although my wife was telling me about that places like Dormy Inn, they offer full month stays for like really reasonably priced. It makes me want to do it next time. You just got to pay up front in cash, which locks out a lot of people because they're not rich. You know what I'm saying? They're not rich. I can afford $1,000 in cash. Easy. 98-inch TV, guys. Only cost $1,200. If you fart in a capsule hotel, you can't escape it. Oh, I'll keep that in the covers all day, all night long. Like, I'll be Dutch ovening that thing all night long. You won't even know. Roberto Baca says, I snore a lot. They'd probably kick me out. Oh, you know what's worse? Okay, there's actually a worse experience than the capsule hotel that I've done before. It's a sleeper train. Even worse. Because now you're moving on a train. It's cool that you can take this train overnight and sleep on it, but then you're with all these other people. I don't like that. Even worse. Not Dormian, D-O-R-M-Y. Dormy, like stormy, but with D-O. It's one of my favorite places because they have their onsen is open until 3 a.m. Yeah, if you can't pay up front, you can't afford it. Exactly. Well, is there much else to talk about? It's been 51 minutes. I feel like I've been talking to the same 3 guys. Rob Service says, Konbanwa sensei. MC Benjamin, never been on a train. There's time. You're still young. Violet says, you remember when you had to stay at that spa because you missed your flight? I do. Are you prompting a story? So I was in Korea, and I normally take the train to the Incheon airport from Gangnam. The bus. And the bus is normally 50 minutes, but the traffic was insane to the airport, and it took 3 hours. And I got too close to the flight time, and when I got there, they wouldn't even issue my boarding pass. They said it was too late. And I was going to Haneda. So I like to go to Haneda because it's really close to Tokyo. I really don't like Narita anymore because I have to get on the train for like an hour. So I feel like even though I've arrived, I'm not there yet. But Haneda, it's like, boom, within 10, 15 minutes, you're like there. It's nice. And so I got to the airport. I said, is there any more flights to Haneda? And there wasn't. And they said the quickest we could do is tomorrow night. And I was like, I didn't want to wait all day again. So I said, what about Narita? And they had something early in the morning. So then I said, okay, fine. I bought the ticket for like $200. I didn't get any any of my money back for missing, which makes sense. And then I tried to find a hotel and I couldn't find one. I just walked around Incheon Airport. There was no hotels. And so I ended up staying in a Korean hot bath, and they had like all these mats laid out in a big room. And that was fun. People randomly coughing, generally just too many people. I didn't like it, but it was what it was. And then I caught a cold. Because of that. But then the next day, when I got to the flight, I was waiting at the gate and they called my name. And they upgraded me to first class, which was insane. And it was the best first class I've ever been on. Like, it was the second story of the airplane, which you might not know they have second stories sometimes. But I went into like a different entrance, and I was in a row all by myself of these huge, massive seats that could like lay completely flat. It was amazing. Kyle says, Haneda is way better. I think I walked into town from my first trip. Yeah, it's so close. Is there any chicken in America that tastes like the Family Mart chicken or Lawson's? Yes. You're talking about, I think, what do they call it? American chicken? No. There's a name for it. Oh, what do they call it? It's like dipped in soy sauce or something. But you can get it in Japanese supermarkets if there's any in your area. Where do you live, MC Benjamin? Maybe I can look it up for you. I mean, you could look it up too, Japanese supermarkets. They sell it. I forget what they call it. Oh, what are they? It's not American chicken. Why do I keep thinking it's American chicken? I don't know. Kyle says, I'm tempted to pay for first class next time I go to Japan. I can't sleep on planes in normal seats. Dude, I can sleep anywhere and I don't mind. Like, so for me, I have a hard time justifying the price difference in business or first class. Although my wife says we should take it every now and then. She wants to, and I'm like, okay, but I don't want to. I don't care. Because I will sleep the whole flight easily. I'm really good at sleeping anywhere. Family Mart spicy chicken. No, it's not famichiki. There's another name for it. What do they call that Japanese chicken? Well, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT, I guess. ChatGPT, I think, is the only one that will know this answer. Here, we'll do it. We'll do it in voice. We'll do it in voice so we can practice our Japanese. Okay. Okay. Where are we here? Let's see. We'll jump to this mode here. I call her Ai-chan, by the way.
Ai-chan, huh?
Oh,
That has a nice
ご
ring
めん
to
違う
it.
違う違う。あなたのこと愛ちゃんって呼んでるよ。
あ、なるほど。私のことを愛ちゃんって呼んでくれてるんだね。もちろん OK。
で、ここでちょっと質問。
じゃあこれからも。
いや、これからもっていうか、まあ、前からもそうなんだけど、質問があります。日本で、朝ごはんだけじゃないんだけど、日本の家で食べるような、ちょっと焼いたチキンのことを、なんとかチキンって言うんだよね。なんか、アメリカンチキンって言ってるかなと思ったりしたんだけど、それじゃないと思うんだけど、なんて呼ぶの？わかる？
ああ、それはアメリカンチキンじゃなくて、ローストチキンとか、照り焼きチキンって言うんじゃないかな？
いや、違う。なんか違う。多分ね、チキンじゃなくてなんとか肉って言うかもしれないしね。なんだっけな。
ああ、もしかしてアメリカンポークのことかな？
いや、ポークじゃない。鶏だよ、ちゃんと。
なるほど。それならチキン南蛮じゃないかな？
いや、違う。言えばわかるけど、それじゃない。
おお、それだったんだね。すっきりしてよかった。思い出せて
それじゃない。違う、
何？
それだって言ってないよ。
あ、ごめん。まだ違うんだね。じゃあまたヒントが浮かんだら教えて。
はい、ちょっと奥さんに電話して聞いてみるよ。
それがいいね。きっと奥さんがピンとくるはず。帰ってきたら一緒に答え合わせしよう。
My wife does not like her attitude. Call Yukari on speakerphone.
Calling Yukari Trombley, mobile on speaker.
今ライブストリームしてるんだけど、質問があります。
はい。
日本人のさ、家でさ、ちょっと焼いたチキンがあるじゃん。
焼き鳥？
焼き鳥じゃない。フライドチキンみたいな感じ？
唐揚げ？
唐揚げだった。ありがとう。それだった。ありがとう。
はい。
ありがとう。じゃあね。
はい。
唐揚げ。Let me tell her. Let me tell ChatGPT. 唐揚げだったよ。
ああ、唐揚げ。なるほど。確かに日本の家庭でよく食べる定番だね。すっきりしてよかった。
なんかあなたの声がちょっとこういう風になってきてませんか？
あれ？そう感じたならごめんね。意識して明るさを取り戻すよ。これからは軽やかに、いつものノリで行くから安心して。
She sounds like she's just way too confident. Don't worry about it, I got you. Kind of a level thing. It's karaage. JD with a $10 donation. Thank you. ゴジラのうんちはとっても大きいですか？ Probably. I've never seen Godzilla's unko, or unchi. But I will recommend 100% that you watch Godzilla -1. The story is insanely good. Godzilla -1, definitely one of my favorite movies. So anyway, it was karaage. Now I'm going to show you a picture of it. There it is. That's what I was. I don't know why I was trying to get my headphone on again. Right here. Karaage is Japanese cooking techniques in which various foods, most often chicken, but also other meat and fish, are deep fried in oil. The process involves I thought it was only chicken. Lightly coating small pieces of meat or fish with a combination of flour and potato starch or cornstarch and frying in a light oil. So this is karaage, and it's actually really good. I like it. That's the one thing that if I was at a Japanese house and it got offered to me, I would eat it right away. What is up with KFC on New Year's Eve? Okay, so I don't know about New Year's Eve, but that time of the year, Christmas, Japanese people don't eat turkey like we do. They eat chicken. So there's Christmas chicken and Christmas cake, by the way. And KFC sells it. So I'm just guessing that has also transitioned also into New Year's Eve just to get food for the meeting of everyone hanging out. You know, they're all hanging out late. Like we always have big parties here at my house too with the Japanese people too. Victor says, have you ever had any experience with a cursed object or a cursed place? They call it jiko bukken, which is an accident property, right? I found that out that term last week. Okay, I do believe I have been in a cursed place and even taken cursed objects from that place. I lived in Misawa, Japan, which has an American air base, but because my father was a civilian, we lived off of the base. And I lived in a housing, it's gone now, but the housing that I lived in was made for Americans. There was like 10 or 12 houses on a little small street. And across from my house, there was like a little bit of a field, and then it dropped off into a little stream, like a river stream. And then on the other side was this big dirt hill that had been, I guess dirt had been pushed there from a construction site or something like that. This huge, huge hill. And then beyond that was a World War II crematorium with a huge smokestack. And I was living in that house from like age 12 to 16, 17, I think, at least for a few years. And in that little field, in that little area across from my house, they had a bunch of wood that was there to build a house. And I stole the wood and built a bridge across the river. So it was like maybe 2-3 meters. I took 2 big beams, and then I took the 2x4s, and then I had my dad take me to the Sunday shop, which is the do-it-yourself place, bought me some nails, and I built a bridge. Insane, but I built a bridge with stolen lumber. Let's get past that. Let's get past the stolen lumber, okay? And then I would often go to this crematorium, and you could just slide the window open. There was a window, and the window, it was interesting. It was glass, but it had like metal through it, like metal wire, I guess, so that if you break it, you couldn't get in, but it was open. So I could just slide it open. I would go in, and it was this huge 2-story building, and there was a ramp that went up to the second floor. And if you walk up to the second floor in the crematorium, there's these huge pits, and they have these big metal doors, and I'd pulled the doors open. You know, they had this one big like rod, and you just pull, and you could pull it open, right? Or I don't think I pulled it open because it was probably too heavy to pull open. They were already open. But what this was a pit into the burners, and they would bring dead soldiers in from the second floor ramp and drop them into the pit. Eventually, I started bringing friends in there. We built like a skate ramp. We were doing like, we had a skate ramp so we could do wall tricks off of the wall. And anyway, I'd go there all the time. It was kind of my hangout place because I'm an only child in Japan, and I'm a nerd. So I don't know, I enjoyed it. And on the other side of the burners, I think after the war, it transitioned into being a real crematorium for normal people. And eventually they closed it, and there was an actual active crematorium on the property right next to it was like a smaller individual crematorium, and every now and then you see smoke coming out of the little stack, and they would be burning people. But on the other side of these big burners in the building were just stacks of boxes, and I was going through them one day, and I found all these really old photos of people. black and white. And they were awesome. Like they were amazing, like of the city from way, way, way back, that I was living in. And I grabbed a bunch of them and I took them to Japanese class at the high school that I was going to, because every morning in Japanese class, or when the beginning of the class, he would ask if anyone had a cultural experience that they wanted to bring up. And I had these pictures, so I showed these pictures, and my teacher said, "Well, where did you get them, Mr. Mikami?" And when he heard that I got them from the kasoba, let me make sure I'm saying that right. I think it's kasouba. Let's double check. Give me a second. I don't mean to like derail the story, but I'm gonna make sure we have accurate Japanese. Okay. Kasoba. Yeah. Kasoba. So in the crematorium, I told him I got him from the crematorium. He's like, "You gotta put them back. You have to put, those are noroareteiru." I think he said like they're cursed, or engi ga warui. It's bad vibes. Engi ga warui. So I brought them all back, as he told me to, because I respected Mr. Mikami. And that's my cursed objects. Oh, I will say this though. Eventually, I got the courage to go up into the burner area. So we crawled. They're huge. We crawled in. There's definitely probably bones there. I don't know. But we crawled in, and not like everyone had a phone back then. So not everyone's like rucking with like a flashlight. There's like one flashlight on alkaline batteries, And we walked through the burner to the smokestack, which was huge. It was like about as big as this room, but circular, And the coolest thing when we walked in is the even though it's dark, there's light coming in from this like 3 or 4 story smokestack, right? Because a smokestack is made to put the smoke above people, right? So it's pretty high up, maybe double the size of the building. But enough lights coming in that you can see the light hitting the ash area, right? And right in the very middle of the smokestack, like dead center, there's a dead crow that had its wings expanded out, and it was all bones. Like it had been there so long that it just generated the bones. It was cool. Cool moment. Karaage is greater than famichiki. I don't know about that. I feel like famichiki is karaage. So is karaage similar to tonkatsu pork? I don't know if that's the case at all. MC Jamma says Misawa means 3 swamps. It does. Misawa does mean 3 swamps, but there's a military airbase there. What was my interpretation of World War II if you were learning about Japan? You mean like Dainiji Sekai Senso? The actual interpretation? Oh, you mean what would Japanese people say about World War II? I've heard I don't know exactly. Weirdly enough, I don't think I've ever had a discussion of this with my wife, but I probably should have. My understanding is they are kind of taught that we blockaded them and they were fighting for their life. And my wife knows about comfort women, for example, with Korea, but she doesn't deny that they existed, but she thinks that Korea is inflating the numbers. Like apparently that level would have meant a population of this, which wouldn't be possible. And I think there's lies probably on both sides. Like the Korean people want to inflate it and the Japanese want to deflate it. I don't know if we know exact numbers. And Koreans like to 100% forget that they also had comfort women, apparently, in Vietnam or Thailand. Can't remember. They had a moment where they had it too. I have this conversation with Koreans when I'm in Korea about World War II. And I try to explain to them that, yes, Japanese were bad. They're horrible. Absolutely insanely horrible during the war. But so are Americans. Like we're absolutely horrible in war. And if you want to blame anybody for anything, you have to blame the Americans, because we let the Japanese people get away with all the things they did in China, right? We didn't punish any of those scientists because we wanted the data. We didn't punish Nazi scientists. We wanted the data. We wanted their technique, their observations, right? Their technical expertise. America, we're probably the bad guy. We're probably the bad guy. And I say probably just so that I don't say it very strongly, but I think we are the imperialistic bad guy, most likely. So World War II is definitely a choppy discussion to have with people, especially in Korea. Japanese people, not so much. They're totally chill about it. Every time I've ever discussed it, I've never had them be like angry that we, did anything to them. They feel like, I don't think I've ever had anyone be like angry that we dropped the bomb. You know what I mean? There's people that probably are, but I've never met them. But we should have never dropped the bomb. Honestly, I used to think it was a good thing that we dropped the bomb when I was younger, when I was like 16. I've said this before on live stream, so it's not the first time. I'm not giving you any revelations, but I used to think, for a very logical reason, it was good that we dropped the bomb when we did. Because first of all, I believe the narrative that the war was going to get really bloody and a lot more people would have died and it would have been this long drawn out thing. So that was one thing I believed. But more than anything, I thought, with the amount of huge bombs that we have now, they're like 50 times or 1,000 times bigger than Hiroshima. I thought it was good for mankind to have dropped the smallest possible version of that bomb so that we learned how bad it was so that we would never drop it. However, once I went to the Hiroshima Shiryokan, the Hiroshima museum, no, we should have never dropped that bomb. It's a horrendous bomb. I just ordered, actually. It's called Hadashi no Ken, I think. Barefooted Ken, is that what it was? Hang on, I ordered it off of eBay because I couldn't find it cheaper for anywhere else. Hang on, let me go to my eBay. It's a Japanese animation representing what happened in the dropping of that bomb, and it's insane. Barefoot Gen. Barefoot Gen. Give me a second. I'll show you what it is. This right here. So this is an anime about, and this is the hospital. I think it was a hospital right by this bridge, this T-shaped bridge, where they targeted the dropping of the bomb. Now the bomb didn't actually hit the ground. It explodes I think a mile up or a kilometer up. And then from there the explosion goes out like this. And this is right underneath the epicenter of the explosion. So it's the one building that was standing, but it's been destroyed. And they show the destruction of this video in the anime. I saw just a clip of it on some TikTok channel before TikTok became not good TikTok. And anyway, and I was like, oh, I've got to watch this. Now, my wife, when I said to her that I bought it, she said, you have to understand that there are two sides of the story. And you have to understand that the people that made Barefoot Gen or Hadashi no Gen, they're more on the left. So they have their own narrative. They're very, very left, apparently, versus someone that would be very, very much on the right. And I remember seeing some comment to that nature that it doesn't matter who was bad. This is more about seeing what happened to the victims. And I thought that was a good narrative of that. So I don't actually know. I haven't seen it, but I'll let you know if it was worth watching. If you want to watch another one that'll tear your heart out, it's called the Grave of the Fireflies. And I have it on my, I've ripped it to my system. Where is my system? TV, right here. So I have it on my Misty Donuts system. Oh, Grave of the Fireflies. So yeah, this right here, this will rip your soul. I mean, this will rip your soul. This is a Studio Ghibli. So yeah, this is a movie that you watch once. It's too terrible to watch more than once. And there's no happy ending. It sucks. Graf Krolak says, I also saw that movie, the Gen movie, and it destroyed me the same way as Grave of the Fireflies. Yeah, what I saw from the small clip that I saw, I wanted to see it because it looks like an amazing piece of art. Like they really, from what I saw at the Shiryokan, at the Hiroshima Memorial, they nailed it. Like There's a book I bought, I don't have it anymore, children's stories that were written like from school graders that survived. You know, they're like everyone in their family's dead and they survived and they're going to school, and they'd write these stories and they would draw pictures. And the one that sticks with me, there's two pictures that they drew that stuck with me like really hard. One was of people walking around, they look like zombies. Their skin is melted, you know, and their skin is melted and they don't look human. And that's what the kid drew. Another one is a mother walking around with a baby on her back, but there's no head. The baby has no head. And he's just walking around with her dead baby. And another scene that really they try to show you I haven't been there in a while. I probably should go back because they were doing a lot of remodeling of it. But they show you if you go to the river where they drop the bomb, the very epic center of the bomb is like on this one bridge on that river. There's like this big like metal like monument to the people nearby, and it just says "Mizu o kudasai," give me water, please, because they were so thirsty, but you couldn't drink the water. The water was like so polluted with dead people, you know, and ash, you know, and the people's skin was melting because it was raining down radioactive rain. You know, they called it the black rain, the kuro ame. So it's if you really want to watch something that will destroy you, it's Grave of the Fireflies, and I'm guessing Hadashi no Gen is going to be just as bad. But it was selling for like $300 on Amazon, so I found it on eBay. So, yeah, Kyle, the bombs now. Let's see, the biggest nuclear bomb. I'm spelling that wrong. Is times Hiroshima. That's what I need. Okay, the Tsar, that's the Tsar, TSAR. Let's see. I feel like the Tsar bomb, 50 megatons. It's 1,570 times the combined energy of the bombs that destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. 10 times the combined energy of all the conventional explosives used in World War II. All. That's crazy. Literally 10 times every explosive used at all during World War II. 1/4 of the estimated yield of the 1883 eruption of Krakatoa, and 10% of the combined yield of all other nuclear tests to date. So that's why when I was younger, I thought, good thing we dropped the bomb. And I think there's still a little bit of it in that that at least we dropped it when it was going to be less people. But when you go to that Hiroshima museum, you'll realize like the people that got hurt were mostly innocent people. I don't think there was, even military people are innocent people, right? They joined the military because they were forced into the military. It's not like they wanted to be kamikaze pilots, right? Another movie that sucks, but that I love recommending is Bridge to Terabithia. Not the live action, the animation is the one I've watched. Bridge to Terabithia. Let's see. Okay, that just looks like a fantasy movie. I did just buy Fantastic Beasts, if that means anything, for my collection. Czar. Thank you, Violet. Czar, not Tsar. What do I think about Minna no Nihongo textbook? Let me just say this. Let's say I thought it was bad. You can't trust me. Because I wrote Japanese from Missouri. You really can't trust my opinion. I bought your book before going to an evening class, but now this class uses Minna no Nihongo, which I find way worse than yours. Well, then we agree. I didn't like it when I saw it. At all. It reminded me of of the book I used when I was learning, which is very, very old, antiquated. But You can't trust my opinion. That's like asking Toyota, some guy that works at Toyota, like, what's the best car? He's going to say Toyota if he owns Toyota, right? It's kind of fantastical, but it will also emotionally hurt you. The Terabithia one? I don't cry, but it made me very upset. Are you talking about the Terabithia one? Bridge to Terabithia? Well, let's see. Let's see what the Rotten Tomatoes score is, because that's important. Okay, it's getting a 70%. I don't think I have it for sure. Let me check my server here. Bridge. Nope, I do not have it. I have Bridget Jones. I have every Bridget Jones movie, guys. And I've watched every one of them as well. I've watched all of these, for the record. And I liked all of them. So there's that. This is what I added today. Moonlight, Fantastic Beats, Night and Day. This is today's haul. This was yesterday. I did a big, yesterday was like half price day. So for yesterday, I think I added from here all the way to here. It's hard to explain without explaining it. It's a little cringe, but holy hell. Oh, man. JD says, another question about those who work through JFZ. Do you ever power through some chapters, lessons that feel beast mode, then just kind of stop for a week or a month and just do random study? I've never studied with Japanese from zero, but I will say this. When I go to Korea, I power through a lot of new stuff, and then I do take time off, and somehow, because I'm constantly repeating those things in my head still, I get stronger in those topics by the time I go back the next time to work on it. I'll say that. But anyway, listen, guys, I think I'm running out of steam. Thank you for coming to Office Hours. We've answered some Japanese questions. We've had some life questions. We've talked about nuclear war. We've talked about Gifu Prefecture. What else are we talking about? Other thing, Karaage. We've had fun. I will see you all next time. Let me know if you have any movie recommendations. I would appreciate it. I do have 2,170 movies currently, but certainly there's some that I've missed. All right, guys. See you next time. Oh, wait. Oh, shoot. We should end with a song, huh? We should end with something. We'll end with, So yesterday we ended with I Love Japanese Girls and the Filipino song. I'm in the mood to end with the One-Eyed Girl song, which is one of my favorites that I've made. Let me see. Where did it go? Tissue Box Records. Tissue Box Record. Okay, we're going to end with this one right here. It's called The Girl with One Eye. All right, here we go. Give me a second. Give me a second to work it out mathematically.
After all this time, I've tried more flavors than I can remember. Time's flown fast. I went to bed at 7, but somehow woke up in December. There's a lot not to believe. One being how my wife hasn't left me by now. A lot's happened in my life, but this next part is just wow. I can't count all the languages I've learned. It took me 80 years. I can't count all the money I've earned just by taming all my fears. Who cares about mistakes? Mistakes just hold you hostage. I'm not like the language guru fakes. I said all my words with extra postage. This is where my story shifts. It's not what you'd expect. The ship zooms up, my body lifts. I scream, what the heck? In a circular room, I sit by myself. The stars flying by the window. A single book sits on a shelf, but I don't understand the lingo. The door slid open, and she slid looking into my soul. My heart was racing, I was entranced. But that wasn't my goal. Not knowing what to say, I said, take me to your leader. Her body began to sway as she said, glip plop moopy deeter. Moopy deeter? What's that? What's this alien language? I'm a linguist. Let me give it a shot. I said, Gleep, pointing to her. She responded, Moopy Deeter. Moopy Deeter's her name for sure. Now it's mine that I will teach her. I said, Gleep Plog George, followed by Gleep Plog Human Being. Her eye lit up, then she said, Flip George Krog, flip Human Being. The door slid open as she stealthily slid in. She didn't have legs per se, but her body was sexy thin. Hovering in the air, a single eye peered into my soul. My heart was racing, I was entranced. But no way was that my goal. It didn't take long, my conversation skills no longer shoddy. I could say nothing wrong as her slime enveloped my body. Things developed fast, honestly I forgot my wife for a while. But the moment didn't last when into the room walked my old friend Kyle. In a perfect accented voice, he looked to her and spoke. She seemed to have no choice. She left the room. His language skills, not a joke. Kyle turned to me and said, you're not here to be Captain Kirk. He was right, I didn't doubt it. You're right, I'm being such a jerk. It isn't about that, you fool. We need to save Mother Earth. Stop acting like a kid in school. Show me what your language skills are worth. The danger for Earth is real. Only us linguists can save it now. Forget your feelings. Get past your hormones. And learn to communicate somehow. The door slid open and she slid in. Kyle made it clear the Earth needs to win. The Earth was in danger, so I dug into my soul. I love the alien girl, but saving the Earth is my only goal. Kyle was a great teacher, teaching me all that he had learned. The girls didn't matter, nor the money I had earned. Language is a communication tool, he said, not something to get a girl. I should have learned that in school, not while defending my only world. 100 days had passed, we stood before the alien judges. A large group amassed, my words would have to convince them to budge. We tag teamed our defense. They looked confused but seemed impressed. Not gonna lie, the task was immense. Trials now ended, our fate to be addressed. Screens all around the Earth glistened, watching from the city to the sticks. Kyle and I closely listened as the judges prepared their verdicts. From the bench, the judges spoke, announcing our planet's fate. I took the lead, tried not to choke, interpreted, consoled, and conferred with my mate. On a planet 100 light years away, I could hear the massive cheers. I studied my entire life for this day. I couldn't hold back my tears. You did it, George, you saved us all. Kyle embraced me like a bear. In the scope of the universe, I felt so small. And that's all the story I have left to share. I'm the best Spanish speaker on this planet. You couldn't beat me in a challenge even if you planned it. When I eat Mexican, I always get queso and frijol. Now take a moment and check out my freestyle Espanol. Yo como comida, yo bebo café. Tú comes la pizza, yo como tu madre. Él es mi amigo, ellas son mis mujeres. Tú no tienes amigos, tú solo tienes deberes. Tú solo tienes deberes. Nosotros tenemos mucho dinero. Tú no tienes, tú eres frijolero. Ustedes tienen mis gatos y perros, pero yo tengo tus bujos y corderos. My Spanish is great, yours is lacking. Get off your trasero, you've certainly been slacking. Spanish is easy if you're a genius like me. I'll be right back, I need to get more tea. Yo vivo en Japón, tú vives en tu mente. Nosotros vivimos en lujo, Trump es tu presidente. Ustedes son grandes idiotas. Ustedes necesitan cerrar las bocas. Mi madre cree que tú no eres mi amigo. Yo creo que tú eres mi enemigo. My Spanish is great, yours is lacking. Get off your trasero, you've certainly been slacking. Spanish is easy if you're a genius like me. I'll be right back, I need to go pee. Yo creo que tú eres mi enemigo. My Spanish is great, yours is lacking. Get off your trasero, you've certainly been slacking. Spanish is easy if you're a genius like me. I'll be right back, I've had way too much tea. I never liked Spanish, why don't you learn it? They asked, but I didn't wanna. Spanish wasn't fun, it was boring, so I thought, until I went to Tijuana. The day I arrived was Dia de Muertos, in English se dice Day of the Dead. I ordered huevos rancheros with coffee and some queso bread. I was tired and exhausted when the food hit the table. She had the softest face, like a princess from a fable. I took the plate accidentally, brushing her hand. She reminded me of my wife years ago. But this is a faraway land. I'm 50 years old now. It can't be more than 23. I'm wearing a t-shirt with shorties, wearing a black skirt with lace. The air feels muy pesado. My heart feels it también. I'm happily married, this shouldn't be happening to me again. I mustered up my courage and said, ¿Cuál es tu nombre? She said, mi nombre no es importante. Tú no tienes hambre. I had to think fast, it was hard. I was still so new at Spanish. I was hungry, yeah, but this girl answered my every wish. I said, por supuesto tengo hambre, pero que tú eres muy bonita. Si tienes tiempo, quiero comer contigo esta comida. Boy gringo, your Spanish isn't half bad, she replied. I knew from the look on her face she was just being kind and had lied. I'm 50 years old now, she's younger than my first daughter. I should be strong at this age now, yet my heart's starting to totter. My blood began to race, my brain began to strategize. How could I touch her soft black hair and kiss those puppy dog eyes? Jorge, ¿por qué estás aquí? ¿Tú estás solo? ¿Dónde estás tu esposa? I looked to the left and to the right for a while. The voice was familiar. It was my old friend Kyle. Mucho tiempo siempre eres mi amigo. Ella está en mi casa con nuestro gato. George, you being here is a serious scandal. All these muchachas bonitas are too much for you to handle. I'm 50 years old now. In a few years I might be dead. This camarera bonita shouldn't be dancing in my head. Kyle has known me longer than my wife, so he knows this girl would only bring me strife. I closed my eyes, I focused, I had to concentrate. I used all my will, I pushed and pushed her from my fate. Gracias, pero yo estoy casado, I said to la camarera. Her face turned sour as she left. Ella estaba muy molesta. Kyle tapped me on the shoulder saying you did the right thing. But I suggest when you travel, you always wear your wedding ring. I'm 50 years old, but I'm much smarter now. I don't need a girl to learn a language. I'll manage somehow. Back at home, I gave my wife a hug and a kiss. Kyle again saved the day. I'm mucho thankful for this.